evening, friend. What is this? Got it? Okay. Are you ready? Good evening, friends, families, survivors, and warriors. Welcome to today's talk. We're going to have a heart-to-heart talk about how to destigmatize cancer in our community. I'd first like to say I am happy to be here, and I'm happy that we're all here. And I just want to say that over again. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that we're all here together. The first thing is to give an overview of the agenda, what is coming, or what is our thoughts about I don't know if I should say the issue, but destigmatizing in our community. How do we go about supporting people, community members that are going through it? So let's just do the agenda first and turn it over to Inka. Sister Inka is going to do the opening prayer. Give me 1 minute to get up the agenda. So the agenda is, first we're going to have Sister Inka. I said that before, but I'm repeating myself, and please excuse me. I'm proud to say this out loud, so I'll be repeating myself. I do have what you call chemodyslexia, if that's a word, brain fog going through, and I lived through it and I worked through it. So if I'm repeating myself, I'm not going to apologize. I'm just going to repeat myself. So please bear with me. Okay, so Sister Pele is doing the roundtable introductions. Then here is Sister Edna, who is going to share her story in regards to how she felt while and when she was facing stigmatization. Then we have Pele giving us some facts about, did you know about cancer? Well, she'll get into it. It's not for me, it's Pele who'll do that part. Did you know? Then we have the panel discussion, and the panel discussion is with Sister Pele, Sister Edna, and myself. We have some questions that we went through, and we think these are going to touch on stigmatization and destigmatizing. Then we invite the audience in and to ask questions, to make suggestions, because we're all learning and everyone is unique. I just want to point that out. Everyone is unique. Everyone have a story to tell, and the stories we tell, it creates values for changes. So I just want to point that out. Then the call to action, I mean, is myself telling, I guess it's to advocate. It's in a form of a poem. I don't know if it's avocation or what it is, but hopefully it means something, just like when we were talking about it in our previous meeting, we, meaning Sister Edna and Sister Pele together, we came up with some ideas how to connect with members who are going through stigmatization and some of the things that we need to bring awareness around. Then we'll have closing. I believe it's Sister Edna is going to close with a closing prayer, and to just appreciate each other, being in this space, sharing this space, and loving each other. So that's where that's how the agenda, the overview of the agenda, and I will turn it over to Sister Inka to do the opening prayer for us.
Okay, Father Lord, we thank you for this afternoon. We give you praise, O Lord, for who you are. Blessed be your holy name, Father. We thank you for another day. We thank you for another month. We thank you for the new week that we have just started. We pray, O Lord, as we are gathered today, that you gather with us. Holy Spirit, we invite you, that everything that we shall say today, that we shall discuss, shall come from the throne of grace. And, oh Lord God, I pray for your healing power on everyone, on everybody that is here today. Thank you, Holy Spirit, and at the end, we'll give you praise. In Jesus' name we have prayed.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Viola, could you please share the slide?
Okay, so I'm just going to take it from here. We want to start with the introductions. And we're doing this because we hope that this will be a roundtable discussion, right? Sundays, weekends are busy, and you've chosen to come spend your time here with us to just talk about this silent topic, right? And which is just trying to ask ourselves questions around why is cancer destigmatized, and why is it us? Where is there stigma around cancer, and how did we experience that? What can we do to make it better? So I think it's important to understand why you've come. You know, what's your role? Has someone in your family been impacted by cancer? Or are you a survivor? Are you a patient? Right? Why do you care? Why have you decided to come? So if that's okay, the slides are still coming up, but what I'm hoping we can do is, just in a minute each, because there's about 15 of us here. What's your name? Why are you here? So that's pretty much, are you a survivor? Are you a caregiver? Did someone in your family get impacted and they're just wondering, why didn't they speak up? Some people, it's after they passed that you find out they had cancer and you're like, why didn't they tell me? Someone still called me today crying, asking me why I didn't tell her. I just forgot, that's the truth. But she felt betrayed by it. I didn't know what to do with it, right? So I want to know, why are you here and what do you hope to learn from this event? So I'm just going to go around just as I see the names. I'm going to call and then just do these 3 things and we'll be done in 15 minutes, I hope, because we're running a little behind time. So I'm going to start with you, Sister Yinka. You're at the top of my screen. Please go with it.
Well, my name is Yinka Oladile, and I am a caregiver. My mom passed of breast cancer. That was in 1995. And in 2016, my husband was also diagnosed with multiple myeloma. And so when my mom was going through it, we didn't know that she had cancer. We had thought it was malaria or typhoid that was kind of common in Nigeria. And when my husband was diagnosed, I thought I was not going to keep quiet, because here in Calgary, that I've been here now for about 22 years, a lot of people have died. You only knew they had cancer when they had died or they are about to die. So I decided not to keep quiet, and I tried to encourage people, don't keep quiet, and also I let people know that we need to get tested, we need to go for screening. It's free here, we don't pay for it. Early detection saves lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful, but I shouldn't have started with you. Because you have a lot to share and there'll be time for that. So I'm going to give an example of how we're going to get this done in 15 minutes. So my name is Pele Williams. I am a cancer survivor, and I am here because I just want to hear other people's stories. There was a part of me that was silent when I went through this, and I don't even know why. And yeah, I want to hear what people think about cancer and why there's stigma around it. Is it faith? Is it culture? What exactly is making us silent? Thank you. Edna, you're next.
My name is Edna Akpan, and I am a cancer survivor. I am here because I would like to share part of my story and to also share how I felt like stigmatized when I was diagnosed, and how I felt dejected and like alone. But I thank God that I found a community like this that is making people come out to speak and to feel among, not feeling alone. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Edna.
Thank you.
We have Sharon.
My name is Sharon Folks Hall. I was diagnosed back in March of 2021 with breast cancer. Now that was all a new reality for me. I didn't see it coming, and I guess no one see it coming. And I had to rearrange around my life. So I know the difficulties of being diagnosed with cancer. I know some of the stigmatized feelings and reaction about cancer. So I am here to express what, well, it's not my research area, but I can speak from a personal standpoint.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Dee, do you want to go next? Dee in Lowood.
Hi everyone, my name is B. Vushevim Kosi. I live in Edmonton, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer in December, and I just finished my chemotherapy. Yeah, I'm here because it's amazing to know that there are other people who know what I'm going through and what my family is going through, and also to learn what others have done to, go through the hurdle that I'm trying to go over. And yes, I've encountered stigmatization, so I thought it'll be interesting to hear what others have gone through and how you've handled it. Yeah, basically. Thank you.
Thank you, Josephine. That was so authentic. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, that's B. Now, Josephine, I was thinking about you. So you're next. Go for it.
Hi, my name is Josephine. You might not see my screen there. My friends told me when I put my camera on, I'm upside down, so I don't know. So anyway, I'm here because I've been wanting to join. Sometimes the times didn't work for me, but thanks, today I'm here on Zoom. The reason why I'm here is that there's cancer in my family. Um, my mother died, but we are not sure whether that was cancer. My brother was diagnosed with cancer of the bones, and right now I'm going through some tests. So I thought, let me join this community and maybe I can learn more, or even, like others have said, get to know what others have done that might help me and help my family. And stigma seems to be huge, and I don't know what stigma even it is with cancer, but I'm here to learn. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Josephine. That's true. Awareness is the first step. Thanks. Ifweko.
My name is Ifweko Avajue, and I'm a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed in 2017. So why I'm here is, first of all, my friend Pele is presenting. I like to hear her speak, all the other ladies, and but most importantly, this idea of stigmatization is a big one, and I want to learn how people are, dealing with it and teaching others about it, because I think in my own way of talking to people about being aware of their health and doing what they need to do, it's important to talk about stigmatization and what it is not, to take away the fear of that. So I would like to learn from others how to deal with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're one of our educators, and that's one of the things we have to learn. Thank you very much. Andrea. And after that, Biola, you're next.
Hello, ladies. Happy Sunday. Why am I here? I'm here to hold space. I'm here to help with the education side for those who do have it. I know who to refer them to in a way that they'll feel comfortable to want to be taking this service, right? Because as we know, it's taboo. People don't want to talk about it. And it's one of those things that we need to start talking more about in our community. So I am here to hold space. And of course, I know Yinka, so I'm here to support her as well. Thank you.
That's wonderful. I've never heard that one. Hold space. I'm going to say it sometime. But you're right. The word is taboo. No one, it's silent. No one wants to talk about it. And we're going to do just that today. Okay, Abiola, you know.
My name is Abiola, and why am I here today? I'm one of the volunteers for Oladile Foundation. So I'm just here. I'm a caregiver also, not necessarily because I have someone, a family member or anybody, but I have friends that had cancer, that are survivors right now. Some of them don't want to talk about uh, what they've gone through or how share anything, and some of them are open about it. So I'm just here. If I can borrow the word from the last person that spoke, to hold a space, a forum where I can share with others or encourage others to share their journey.
Thank you very much, Abiola. We always love having you. You're a medical professional and you bring lots of experience from that space. Thank you. Now, Blessed. And then after that, we have Maureen and Kike. Blessed, are you ready? You might not be called Blessed, but that's how you're legal. So please unmute yourself, Blessed, and introduce yourself to us. You're muted if you're speaking. So you know what? Let's go on to Maureen for now. Maureen, you ready?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Maureen. I am a cancer survivor, stage 3 breast cancer. And what do I hope to learn? I just hope to learn how best to, go through all of this and come out on the other side without feeling like a victim or feeling some sort of way when I have to talk about my experience. Thank you.
Well, Marin, I love that perspective. The fact that you're right. There's a way we feel. Sometimes you don't even have words for it. Is it guilt? Is it shame? Is it pity? Whatever, right? Thank you so much for bringing up that perspective, Maureen. You cut off a little, but I think I heard you say that you're a cancer survivor. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, that's fantastic. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Kike, are you ready?
I apologize. Yes, I am. I thought I was so ready. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to be here. I'm here because anything Auntie Yinka does, I support as much as I can. And I got the flyer from her.
You are breaking, no, madam.
Can everyone hear her, or is that just me?
No.
Okay.
No, we can't.
We can. Maybe another person, she can come back later.
This water.
Okay. Sakike, we want to hear you. I'll give you some time to get that mic fixed. Tina, you want to go next? Tina, are you on there?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me? Help?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So my name is Tina. I'm a breast cancer survivor. I was diagnosed last year, 2021, but in March, and I'm done with almost all the treatments. I'm here because I want to learn, and I'm willing to share my story so somebody will learn. Because when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I thought that was a death sentence for me. But I was fortunate I met wonderful people, especially from this platform that really got me going. I used to tell them that if not for them, I'm sure I would have been at emergency every day because anything that is wrong with me, I just call them. They tell me it's normal and I'm relaxed. So I'm here to learn, to share my experience and to meet people. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. We're all here to learn too. We're glad to have you here. Sister Kike, you ready? You ready?
Yes, I am. Yes, I
Go
am. So
for
I
it.
was saying, for three reasons, Auntie Ika, anything she does, I like to support. And I knew when Uncle was diagnosed, she called me that day and said, "I need you here now." Same thing with Bola. I was talking on the phone with her when she was diagnosed, when she got the results. And the third reason is, first of all, I would pay to hear Kwele speak anywhere. And I was surprised actually to see her on the poster because I did not know that you're a cancer survivor. So that's why I'm here.
You know what? When I saw the name, I'm like, I know there are many Kikas, but there's the only one that can start that way. So I knew it was you right away. Glad to have you here. There's always a lot of surprises around cancer. It's hard to just call people and say, I've got cancer. So people, there's some offense sometimes, there's some, you don't even know what to say, but it happened. And this is the reason why we all come out, because we want to give hope to those coming behind. We want to remove the stigma, and this is why we're here today. So thrilled to have you here. I don't know if Blessed is ready to speak now. I think I've covered everyone. Blessed, are you there? No? Okay, so let's.
And really sorry, there are so many people with my name. It's maybe because they logged on with my login. So
Oh, really? Okay, so you know what?
yes.
Let's have Blessed and anyone else who hasn't spoken, please speak
Yes.
after her, because I don't quite know how to call them.
Yes, I don't either.
Blessed, are you there? No?
Maybe let's go ahead, please.
Okay, so anyone else, please speak up now. We'd like to hear from you. All the Yinka Oladeles, Yinka Oladele 1, 2, 3, and 4. Please speak up. Okay. You know what? Let's move on because of time. But what I want to encourage is, if you are somewhere where you could turn on your video, it'll be wonderful. There's just something about when you're speaking about a difficult subject. In my culture, they say connection, I would say conversation is in the eyes, right? People are going to be sharing their personal stories. There's just something about being present with them. If you can, turn on your cameras. It will help to make this a more intimate session. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Edna. She wants to share her story. The first time I heard her go at it, I knew she really had something here. And that's why we're asking her to kick this off with her story. Edna, over to you.
Thank you, Pele. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to share a little bit of my story, because if I want to share every bit of it, it's going to take us the whole day. So I'm just going to share a little bit of the story. Like I said before, my name is Edna Akpan, and by God's grace, I'm a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed of breast cancer in 2017. And at this time when I was diagnosed, I was about 5 months pregnant. And this was not an easy diagnosis for me to take, because I never saw it coming at all. So part of the feelings I had was like, where am I going to go from here? It was a very tough one, because why was it so tough for me was because this pregnancy I was carrying was kind of a long-sorted pregnancy. I had been struggling to get pregnant for like 7 years. And this was because I lost my childhood husband, and then I had to remarry. So, and the man I married had no child, and I already had 2. So it was like, you need to just help have give him a child. So I sorted for this pregnancy, and I had to go through IVF back to back. I had 7 IVFs, and then this one finally came successful. And then behold, 5 months down the line, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Now, the doctors were, in my case, there were 2 groups of doctors. Some were saying you must terminate this pregnancy because this cancer, the progesterone and estrogen you're producing because of the pregnancy is what is feeding the cancer. So you must terminate the pregnancy. And some were like, oh no, you know what? This pregnancy has grown. You could manage it. Let's see how it goes. I was faced in between, my dear. I didn't know what to do at this point. But by God's grace, that decision of having the baby, because I said I must have this baby, and if I go, the baby lives, I'm fine. So I started treatment. I had my first chemo with the pregnancy, and down the line, my blood went into minus. It was crazy. I was rushed to hospital, and the baby was taken off at emergency, straight into incubator. Then I had to face my own life. At this point, I had decided that, you know what? I don't need this breast. Take off all the breasts. I don't want anything. So I had to do a bilateral mastectomy. And then I had like 8 sessions of chemotherapy and 25 sessions of radiation. So, and after those, I had to deal with the trauma, the stigma around being diagnosed with cancer, dealing with family, dealing with friends. My goodness. I know a lot of us who have passed through this would have noticed that when you were diagnosed, you yourself were, I don't know how people felt, but I felt like being dejected. I felt like being alone, because at that point, I didn't even know who to talk to about what I was going through. I felt like if I tell someone, how is this person going to react towards me? So I decided to keep it to myself. I didn't tell people. A lot of people only came to know when I had completed my active treatment, because at that time, I stayed to myself and faced God. A few friends that knew, some of them were of the opinion that, oh, Edna is not going to survive this. So why do I bother keeping friends with her? So you see, there were 2 groups of people around my life. Those that will not come to me because they felt I wasn't going to survive, and those that will come to me because of pity. So, and at that point, I didn't want any pity around me because that wasn't going to help. So I had to deal with those 2 groups of people. But to the glory of God, we are all here today talking about the stigmatization that comes with diagnosis of cancer, because we must have had it either directly or indirectly, and we know what we went through. But I thank God that this has brought me very close to God. I had some group of friends that we used to go out every Friday. Oh, it's Friday, we hang out from one place to the other, enjoying life. But guess what? As I speak to you today, this is year 5. I can tell you that some of those friends are so near me, but I haven't heard or spoken to them in these 5 years, because they felt Edna was of no good anymore. So why do we have to go close to her? But my sisters, I want to thank God for the opportunity He gave me to live again, because I feel that this is another opportunity God gave me to be able to live again. And I have said to myself, and I have made a covenant with Him, that for the fact that I live and breathe, I will acknowledge God in my life every blessed day. And that is my strength up till this point. So I want to encourage all of us that are going through this particular stigma, all of us that are going through the trauma of being cancer patients, that there is nothing that God cannot do. If God did it for me at that point where even doctors were faced with indecision of how to handle my case, then I don't see which one, God will not do. So I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit. And that's the bit I have been able to share. So thank you very much. And my 10 minutes, I thought, is less.
You know what? You did a fantastic job. And I can see people clapping because you spoke from the heart. You know what touched me the most was the statement that God gave you another chance to live again. That's what it feels like coming out of cancer. You're like, first life is over, this is another one.
Yes.
It's so precious to you because you know that you actually did go through the valley of death. Thank you so much, Edna, for sharing. We're now going to be getting into a panel discussion, and everyone, we're all going to speak, right? But for now, the three of us, Edna, Sharon, and I, we spent some time thinking about the kind of questions we have, and we want to just discuss it, right? And then when we discuss it, then we're going to be asking you to add more questions and answer some of them. If you don't have the answer, someone else on the forum will answer it. But before we get into that discussion, I did some research, and I want to just share with you that this stigma, sometimes you're thinking, just like racism, you're thinking, did I make it up? Is it in my head? You're feeling something, you can't even describe it. And so I found out there that this is very common in many cultures. These are research, this is research around the world. And these are the keywords I want to highlight to you. Cancer is always synonymous with the word death. And that's why the stigma, right? Like, oh, it's over. Until recently, more and more survivors are coming out of it, but still there's no cure. We all know that, right? So it's synonymous with death. And the word stigma is really the fact that we're perceived differently. It's a negative, undesirable way. Sometimes even you perceiving that of yourself. I remember when I got diagnosed, I told my husband, feel free to remarry. I told him later on, I take it back. But I told him that, feel free to remarry, get on with your life, just make sure she's a beautiful Christian woman, it's okay. Because in my mind, it was synonymous with death, right? And because of that, there is this loss of status. Maybe you were something or whatever, you might lose that. Sometimes, like Edna said, rejection. Sometimes there's financial insecurity. As a cancer survivor, you can't get insurance. Very few insurance companies will insure you because you're kind of like on death row, right? And with that, there's some shame. Sometimes you think, what did I do wrong? And because of that, isolation, you're not speaking about it. Even if you're surrounded by friends, if you cannot share this thing, you are isolated. So that's another thing we face. And as a result of that, it's not surprising that the prevalence of depression is really high among cancer patients. So your body is breaking down and your mind is breaking down too. So it's a difficult journey. For some, it's a long journey. And you're always on the watch list. I know all of us, we're all seeing survivors, but we're still seeing our specialists, right? So it's a journey. Sometimes you see some things, you're like, what's that? Right? So it can also mess up with your mind. The next thing is that silence is the most popular response. No matter what the culture is, silence is the number one thing people do. 78% will tell their family. This is immediate family. Some people go through it, like mothers may not tell their kids, because they don't want the kids to be afraid. 34% will tell their friends. I still have friends finding this poster and saying, Pele, why did you do this? Why didn't you tell me? I'm like, how do I go around telling everyone? Only 14%, I think one of them is family, friends. I don't know what the 14 is, but I'm sure I made a mistake there. I think it must be, I don't know. I must have edited it wrong, but there's another category there that's 14%. And finally, only 12% will tell their employers. And I can attest to this. It took me a long time to tell my boss because I wasn't sure what it meant for work, right? And finally, communication is critical. How do we get over it? The one word is communication, what we're doing. Talk about it and make sure people are aware. Survivors, speak up. let people see that, yeah, there's life after cancer. And medical personnel should educate people and let them have hope while they're going through it. And that's how we overcome some of the stigma. So with that, we're going to start the discussion. Can we get to the next slide, please? And the first question will go to you, Sharon. So Sharon, are you ready? Why do you think that there is stigma associated with cancer within the Black community?
I am speaking from my personal experience of how I felt. And destigmatization, there's two parts of it, two layers of it. And the D, I'm referring to myself, that what I internalize or put myself in a fixed box. The assumptions around it. What else is there? The emotions around it, right? So I am saying that the stigma that we face is from our own internalization, the negative thoughts, because we're not blind slate. We come in with our environmental knowledge and influence and all that, and plus society that, and you touch on some of it, Sister Pele, about the ism, the intersectionality of the system that's have, whether discrimination for racism, sexism, ageism, disabled versus ableism, all that comes into play. It's just not, it's more complicated than I am thinking through it when I was going through it, because the bigger picture is that, like, stigma. How did I arrive at not being able to feel good? I mean, regardless of the diagnosis itself and the cancer. How did I pick up that? It's because I picked it up that, as you say, cancer, you're telling people that you're going to die, right? People believe that. It's written all over, whether it's visible or non-visible. And I had to second think that too. I had to second think, how am I going to relate this to my community, to my family, to all people around me, so that they themselves don't feel the worry, the anxiety, the fear, and all that. So how did we pick up this cancer stigma in ours? It comes from various levels, come from various forms, come from various isms.
Wow, thank you. I never thought of it that way. You're right. Anything different, anything that's not seen as valuable is always stigmatized. And in this case, death is not valuable to anyone. So everything comes together in cancer. You're no longer able, you're no longer financially there. All these things come together. Edna, I'm going to ask you the question because it was meant for you, but you could see that I mixed it up. So I know
I was wondering, is this my question? And I went silent.
You guys are just the best. You didn't say, Pele, what are you doing? Edna, could you answer that question?
Okay, it's okay.
Yeah. So just like Sharon has put it, this stigmatization, it comes from two angles. You know, I look at it like you personally feeling stigmatized of being diagnosed of cancer, because when you're diagnosed, you just feel like death is inevitable. Even before I was diagnosed, I was opportune to be a caregiver of two cancer patients, and I saw them go through stages of pain until they passed. So when I was diagnosed, I just said, oh, okay, within me, oh, then this is just a matter of time. I'm also going to pass, right? But going through treatment, meeting people like you who open up to talk, I have come to discover that no, it is not all about death. The people I cared for before they passed, none of them lived up to 2 years, and they all passed. But this is me. I'm counting 5 years and I'm going. and by his grace, I know I'm going on. So I look at that part of stigmatization from personal angle, like, it might not be sustainable. But then the other part also from the general public, like friends, family, I tell you, it took me time to open up to tell even my parents that I had cancer, because I felt that it was going to take them to their early grave. They would just say, oh, we are losing her. She's gone. So it took me time also to even, open up to tell them what I was going through. So that stigmatization, I think it's a thing that people really need to open up and talk about, so that those that are being newly diagnosed would overcome it, because it's something that is there, whether you talk about, you want to know the truth about it or not, it is there.
Thank you, Edna. The floor is still yours. You have the next question.
Oh yeah. So the next question, just give me some time, let me look it up. Now, I think I'm going to ask Sharon. Did you feel guilty when you were diagnosed with cancer? Did you have any guilt within you, like, oh, was this my fault? Why am I the one that is being diagnosed? Why am I being diagnosed of cancer? Did you have any internal guilt?
You're muted, Sharon.
Unmute, I unmute. The internal guilt wasn't there day one or when I tried, because at first I had to try and digest all what that was said to me, because all the things that, and they have all right to do it, but they went through all the process of being diagnosed, what to look for, what are the side effects, all the stuff was going on too fast for me. So I had to say, okay, hold on a bit. And I think Pele had, in her slide, she talked about silent. I came home and I was silent. I'm thinking now, I am feeling guilty to tell my parents. You see, the bigger picture is that I don't have my kin folks here in Jamaica. And my mom is in her 70s. I have to be gentle to tell my mom. So the guilt came in that sense. How do I relate this? And I'm here and they're there. What's the reaction? How is my mom going to take this? Is it going to put more pressure on her? So that's where the guilt came in at first. Then the guilt came in after, when I realized that, wait a minute, I have cancer now, I can't go out and work. And which employer am I going to tell if I'm looking a job at this minute? Where am I going to say I have cancer, hire me? Like, how would that relate? I mean, talking about disability is such a tough one, much less added cancer on it. So all that, I had to play around with it. I had to say, wait a minute, Sharon, you have to just focus on treatment. That's what I did. Stay positive, focus on treatment. And like what was echoed around the space is that it's good to have good support. The medical support is there, but also community support is important as well. So it eased my guilt down the road. But at first it was more thinking my mom, so yeah. And I like the fact, I like that we have a community to reach out to. I like that people are talking about it. I like to know that, well, there's much more to be done or can be done, but we're working on getting there. This is why I am so happy that I'm here with you all today. Next question is going to Pele. Is there any stigma associated with cancer in our community? If yes, how does it typically show up? Pele?
Thank you very much. And thanks for also answering the previous question so well. I'm enjoying this. I don't think I've ever talked about cancer this much in one day, but it's important we do this. Absolutely, there is stigma in our community. And I'm going to start with my family. I was diagnosed in 2019. My mother-in-law was diagnosed in 2020. And I'm going to use that as an example because it shows why it's huge in our community. And let me be clear, it's actually in every community. I didn't know this until I started doing research for this event. At least most like Indian, Chinese, those communities that are not as westernized. It's also here in the West, but it's more because of the way our cultures are, right? And also there's also the faith factor, right? So I'm going to use my mother-in-law's example. She's 80. She was diagnosed in 2020. She has stage 4 cancer. Can you imagine? We can't even have conversations. Because grandma would say, I don't have cancer, my enemy has cancer. Like, you know, when you can't even admit to the thing, and you know, you use the word, the C word. Which other disease do they use the fourth letter to describe? Like the word that cannot be said. You know what I'm trying to say? So you hold this news and you can't share it. And so definitely that tells you that you're afraid of the reaction you're going to get. Some people have used PT, some people have used, you know, the fact that people don't know what to do, so they stay away. If you've ever gone to mourn with those who have lost someone, especially maybe lost a child, someone that's not meant to die, you don't want to do it. You want to stay away from them because you think you're going to say something wrong. And that's what's associated with cancer. So I think with faith, we feel that nothing bad should happen to me. And if you're Christians, the Bible doesn't actually say that. It says in this world you have trouble, but be of good courage. I've overcome the world. The fact that even death is not failure, but people have associated cancer with death and death with failure. Jesus died at 33, right? And at that time, maybe he was looked at as a failure, but that was the best victory of all, right? So all to say is definitely there is cancer. There's a stigma in our community. Maybe there was a lot of cancer in the years back, you know, when doctors asked me, is there cancer in your family? Like, how will I know? I just know my grandfather died when my mother was 2. What killed him? I don't know, right? So there's not a lot of history. And so because of that, when there's no awareness, there's a lot of fear. With fear comes trying to just stay away from this thing so you're not associated with it. Now, how does it typically show up? And I think I've described some of it. People don't want to talk about it. People, you know, sometimes people freak out and you're thinking, hello, like someone called me today, 2 years after the fact, no, not 3 years, she was crying. And I'm like, I'm okay. But she was weeping, wailing for me. And I'm like, I'm okay. Right. And then she was angry. So there are many emotions that come with it. Angry that you didn't tell me. Like, how do I just call you up and say, hey, by the way, I've got cancer, right? Didn't you know? I wasn't hiding it. I just didn't bring it up. You know, so there's a lot of emotions with it. And with that, people try to escape that. So that's my thought on that. And I'm sure you all have something to say, and you'll have a chance to say that soon.
Thank you for sharing, Pele. And back to how you were saying that people will, as soon as they hear the message, they will panic. And that's what I was afraid of too. I am here and my mom in Jamaica. Like you know what I did in my situation? I asked someone to sit with my mom while I was on the phone. So I'll just leave it at that because there's more to cover. But thanks for sharing.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Edna, the next question is yours. How can we eliminate the stigma associated with cancer in our community?
I think what we are doing now is one of the best ways to eliminate the stigma that is associated with cancer, especially amongst our communities. If we have support groups like this, and then we organize discussions like we are organizing now, we talk about it all the time, we encourage people, who are suffering cancer or who are caregivers to those suffering cancer, I think it's going to go a long way to help, eliminate some of the stigmas that we are having. Like Sharon said, I'm sorry. Like Sharon said, she had to put someone to sit with her mom before she could even talk to her mom. You see, some of this, like I want to say, like we know, bad news. If you have some news to share, to give out like this is what we call bad news that can take somebody to a level you might not even understand the reaction to that news, that message you're passing across. So the more we talk about it, we create awareness, and people get to know that, look, these things exist and people live with it. Like, I had never known that someone lived who was diagnosed of cancer, who had gone through cancer treatment only about 40 years ago, only died when she was 88. I thought, cancer, you can't live more than maybe 5 years, you will die. Even me, that's how bad I thought about cancer until when I went through the treatment myself. So I think this kind of forums, is very good. Educative forums like this is very good.
Thank you very much, Edna. That was a great response.
And that takes me to the next question. This goes to Sharon. Sharon, how comfortable are you with reaching out for care, support during your cancer journey? Why or why not?
You're muted, Sharon.
Reflecting on my journey, when I first got diagnosed, I thought about it. I came home, I was silent. I thought about it. I said, yes, I have to put everything aside and just focus on my treatment. My worries around that is, how am I going to survive? A low-income person as I am, I'm a sole caregiver, as Yanka pointed out to me, that I was my sole caregiver, even though I have the community and the village sisters coming to my aid. But how am I going to do all of this? And if I'm comfortable, if I trust the people that are going to take care of me, like tradition-wise, I came from Jamaica, and going to the doctors, you go with an entire family or neighbors, or how am I going to do this? And this time we're living through COVID-19 too, going to the hospital by myself, having the phobia around COVID-19. How am I going to do all of this? Is it my comfort zone? No, it wasn't a comfort zone for me. But then I had to reorganize or retrain my brain, relearn things, stood above some of the beliefs that I had before, like put them aside and go in and do my treatments. I am from a place where you grew up knowing the doctor that you're being treated by. And it's a little bit strange when there's different doctors attending, right? Some people will refuse treatment. Let's be real about it. Some people refuse treatment because they're going to an unknown place. That's why I'm saying trust and relationship is a key factor here. I'm speaking on a broader level too, not only about myself. So this is how I'd like to answer this question, if it answered the question any at all. Edna.
So thank you so much, Sharon. Yeah, you talked about trust and relationship. I think that is very true because at that point, you look at yourself like, who do I trust amongst the people that are around me, right? You don't even know because, I mean, it goes a long way. So that trust and building of relationship, I think it's what sustains us to get assistance, even from the people around us. And then the community that we find ourselves in, it's a wonderful thing to belong to a group like this because whatever you think, it's that little thing you're giving out goes a long way to the person that is receiving it. I tell you. I was telling you people sharing the other day how I have had a lot of pain between my hip and my shoulder. And I haven't been able to, the doctors have not been able to tell me exactly what is going on. But, and with all of that, I am here only me and the kids. I can't even clean the house. But I have support because I have people coming to clean the house for me and I don't have to pay. You know, that is so much support for me. I feel so blessed having that. So you see, that little thing you think it's a little small support you're giving goes a long way. So thank you so much, Sharon, for
If I may add one thing, because remember, first off, I say it out in this space, I claim it that I wouldn't use the word suffer. I'm experiencing chemo dyslexia. So sometimes I'm trying to concentrate and it just goes somewhere else. So I just like to say too, that Yanka, when she was calling me every week, I was like, is this for real that she's gonna take the time really to call me every week? But those phone calls when I was doing treatment, when I was feeling, dizzy or whatever side effects I was having, it was, Yanka, I am putting you in a collective space now. Thank you so much. Thank you. It means a lot. Okay, the next question. Is this my question now? I lost my train of thoughts. Did you, Pele, to Pele now. Did you face any social rejection from family and friends as a result of your cancer diagnosis?
Thank you very much, Sharon. I look at that question and the answer is not straightforward. And this is why I didn't tell all family and all friends. It's like, I just lost a job. I just failed an exam. Do I go around telling everybody? So back to the trust question. I was very selective. I was very selective. And when I sit here now talking about stigma, wanting people to speak up, of course it's easy for me, it's behind me. But the truth about it is when you have it, you feel exposed, you feel vulnerable, and so you anticipate the rejection or the pity, and so you don't speak. And that makes it much more difficult. But this is what I did. And I'll tell you the things I experienced. The first person I thought about, honestly, was a friend of mine. She's on this call, Ifweko. She had been on this journey 2 years before me. And at that time, we grew up together. I even lived with Ifweko way back when I was jobless in Nigeria. So anyway, so I just called her up and she just taught me what to do, how to ask the right questions, advocate for myself. She sent me Bible verses. She encouraged me. She brought me food. And when I was going, when she was going through it, I was like, oh, so sorry, Freckle. I didn't know it was going to be my turn. So I was most vulnerable with people I felt will understand. And that's why this community is important. You might be more vulnerable here than even with your immediate family, because you feel that all that have gone through it, they just know, they just get it, right? And so I would say the answer is it depends. There were some friends I felt that I was ready. Sometimes you're not ready. It's not that you don't want them to know. And some other times you interact with people, you wonder if they know the way they just treated you, right? Like, has the word gone around? Do they know? So it becomes the elephant in the room and you feel uncomfortable. Some other times people find out through a third party and they're mad. So like I told you today, a friend of mine called me. We've been childhood friends, but I didn't even know she did not know. And she saw the poster for this event. And she was like, how dare you not tell me? First she wept, she cried, went through everything. And I'm like, I'm okay. And then she was hurt. And I still don't know, we're going to have a conference to deal with this because she was now questioning our friendship. She felt that, why wouldn't you tell me? And I said, I don't know. Because if I'm going around, I don't know why. I still don't know why, but I wasn't hiding it. So what it is that sometimes in those moments, you weigh a person's personality. Maybe you weigh how they would react. You weigh the people they will tell. Maybe you don't mind telling them, but you don't want them to tell the people, your father's side of the family, that would feel that finally your mother is getting what is due to her. It's complicated, right? So because of that, you kind of measure the information. But I feel that the most important thing is that when people know, I think this is now speaking to those who haven't gone through cancer, to just accept, rejoice with that person, move on, because you don't quite know how they feel. Because any kind of guilt or any kind of accusations you make or pity, it actually just makes it worse. So this is just my advice, having gone through that. So the next question is for Edna. What's the impact of cancer stigma to you and your family?
Oh, to me, I must tell you that this journey has taken, just like I said, I think I'm living my second life. This journey has taken me closer to God, has made me know God, has made me be very firm and strong in his promises to us. And then to my family, it's two ways also. Like I said, there are a lot of people that once they hear cancer, they just associate it to death. So there are some people, even my direct uncles, who do not even associate with me anymore because they know that it's just a matter of time she's going to go. But there are some now who have shown me so much love. There are people that call me up more than I would ever have thought that they would think of me, just to check on me. Like this moment that I am kind of like down, I haven't been going to work, I have people that will just tell me, what do you need? Have you been able to pay your rent? In my family. And they would make sure that they support. So this has given me that two sides of the coin. I have those that support so well, and then those others that they've just kept me at an arm's length, waiting to hear the news. So to me, I think that it has taken me to another level of my life. Like I say, I'm living my second life right now. And that second life is the life between me and God. I don't know whether that has done some good to that question, but that's the way I feel.
Yes, you did very much. And I think I was just still thinking about what you said there.
Words you put out.
Mm-hmm. So this takes me to the next question, which is for Sharon. Do you have any suggestions on how cancer can be destigmatized in the Black community based on your experience?
Thank you for asking it in that form, because I'm not an expert and a lot of keywords have already echoed. The keywords about not sympathy, but empathy, the building relationship, trust, all of that. I would just add a few observations, like the awareness. The awareness piece. We are our communities. We're in churches, we're at the bank, we're in schools, we're in grocery stores, we're in other institutions. The awareness around it And I know I admire many cancer organizations that is out there seeing the bigger picture and doing the work. All I'm saying is that we need to put more awareness on cancer. That is, it doesn't matter what stages we're at, we're still living and we still deserve to live with respect and dignity and with all the things that is required for us to heal. So what am I trying to say here? Black History Month, let's give an example. I choke all the time around, I used to attend Black History Month events, and yes, I was all for it at one point. Then I realized that we're here, but how comes we're only broadcast, when is Black History Month? Somebody please tell me, February. How come there's only posters in the subway? And, you know, yes, they acknowledge some of our poor ancestors or people that have passed on, and that is great. But back to what I was saying with the awareness. Cancer Month is one of it, but why are we not having posters acknowledging that we're survivors? And I can't frame it right now what it should say, but I just need, I should go in the grocery store and say cancer survivors or cancer. I should go into the bank and see it. I should go on Billboard and see that it's more out there. We're showing faces. We're doing collective things. We're a part of the society. We're still valid in this society. We still are creating and inventing beautiful things on this earth. It's not only about the medical and the treatments, we have a full life. I think these things are needed in the schools, whether it's through education, through even a course. I'm just saying all of this. And then when I read some of the articles, it wasn't an article, I think somebody sent it to me. Now we have taboo about going to the hospital. Let's face it, some of the realities in our community. And I see in the States that this entrepreneur, and I don't remember his name now, they said he spent like $1 million or whatever to give to the hospital where they're joined up together, and they have a portable, and I don't know where in the community it would go because we're spread out, but you know, they have a way of meeting the community inside the community so that people feel comfortable getting tested. Yeah, and there's a bigger picture as well when people are not, when people are refusing treatment. We have to look at the broader picture. Some of us are displaced family-wise. Not every one of us have our family here. We have them back home and we're thinking about them while we're doing treatment. And sometimes it's like, okay, I have to think about my family. I can't even think about myself. All those things plays out. So how do we talk about them? How do we frame them? How do we, you know, bring awareness to them? That's all I have to say. I'm not an expert, but my 2 cents.
You're muted, Sharon, and I know you've got a question for me now.
Yes, sorry about that. What are the examples of human connections that can make a positive difference during the cancer journey?
Okay, I have a lot to say about that, but I'm checking our time. We want to give at least 40 minutes for everyone to join the conversation. And so in preparation for that, we have one more question after this. So if you've got questions, could you please just start typing them? You may answer your own question. We might have another person answer it, but we just want you to join us on the, is it the Thai table now? I don't know what it's called now. Join us on the floor and let's open up this conversation as soon as we're done with the last question. When I think of human connections during the journey that really mattered to me, the first one I told you, another survivor. That is so, to just see someone ahead of you saying, you made it, I'm going to make it too. That's very important. I also like folks that are able to step into the journey with you. I didn't know this until I became a patient myself. A friend of mine took a day off from work and she followed me to one of my appointments because my husband could not. I thought that was so sweet because in that appointment, I was depressed. I looked around, I'm like, is this the story of my life? And she was there encouraging me. Some caregivers are funny. They're just, they make it light. That's another good human connection. You go and see a doctor, they laugh with you and they just make it light. They make it human. They show care. Another example of human connection, just your family, even, just the way they can ask, how are you doing? Hug, and the cancer patient has all kinds of time. So when people call you, it makes a difference. They're busy in their day, but remember, call because they're not going to work, they're home. So those phone calls, those Bible verses, are good examples of human connection. And this community is one, because this is the only place you can really talk about it. Where else? Right. So this is a strong one for me too. Thank you. Next question, and the last question goes to you, Edna. Edna, what causes people to dissociate from cancer in anxiety, fear, and panic? Why do people do this?
Like you just said, that the way people react towards you during your journey, I would just say a little bit about the way I felt with my doctors treating when I was going through active treatment. Like, here at the Cross Cancer Institute here in Edmonton. How the nurses, whenever they see you step in, how they even play with you. They greet the greetings, the way they will greet you, they will hug you. They don't care whether you, like when I was going through radiation, don't put water on you, don't let water get to this. So I just said, you know what? I'm not going to have shower. I just use towel my face, put Vaseline, rub and shine thing, and then I get out again for my next session. And the way they will hug you, they really don't care whether you brush your teeth or whether you smell or anything. All those things give you some kind of like comfort that you have people that really truly care, And like you said, like this community where we are, oh my goodness, the care they show, it really gives us that feeling. So to ask about how, what causes people to dissociate from cancer in anxiety and panic, fear and panic. There is so much anxiety, fear, and panic associated to cancer. So much. Fear of the unknown. You don't even know what is going to happen to you the next moment. When you're going for treatment, I just like this part of the world because your doctors will sit with you and discuss your line of treatment. So from the beginning, you know what you're expected at the end of your treatment, right? So, but there is still that anxiety. You don't know how the next phase of treatment is going to be. We've all gone through chemotherapy. You know what it is, second, third day after you take chemo. Oh my God, you don't want to have that experience. So when you have that experience on your first journey, like when I took the first chemo, I'm like, I thought they said this chemo is going to turn my system upside down, but I'm fine. Day two, oh, I'm fine. I'm posing up and down, eating my food, drinking anything I want to. Day three comes and I'm dead, down and out. I can't even get out of bed. And then you don't even know what you're expecting the next moment. There comes anxiety, fear. And then you panic because you don't even know what you're expecting that will come next to you. So to let people dissociate themselves to all of this, I still go back to our God, the big word that is above every other word. Turn to him in prayers. I learned how to read the Bible like verse to verse to understand what God says in his words, his promises to us that help to take away most of the fear, anxiety, and panic I had going through treatment. So, and I think that most of us also experience that kind of. And then the relationship you have with the direct people around you also. I had to go through treatment without my husband, without my dad, without my mom. But thank God I had a sister that was around me. And that sister, I want to use this opportunity to, unfortunately, she couldn't join this Zoom because she's out of country now. But by God's grace, on the 25th event in June, she will be with me in Calgary. I want to use this opportunity to also say a big thank you to her again for making me go through all of this panic, fear, and anxiety with some bits of hope, knowing that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Edna. Thank you, Pele. It was nice to hear around. It's nice to familiarize yourself with what's going on, I find. I don't stand alone when I hear all the unique stories that's been told. And I really commend you both for sharing. It's coming from a painful place, yes, but we all have to share. We all have to bring awareness. We all have to support each other in togetherness. So thank you. So now it's time to turn it over for the audience to ask a question, say anything they would like to say within their comfort zone. So please share with us.
You can just speak up if you want to. If you don't feel comfortable, type it and someone will answer, but we just really want everyone to join the conversation now.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chidima Obiaha, and I'm a caregiver. My husband was diagnosed with colorectal cancer last September last year. So we are on this journey. And I want to thank all of you for sharing your stories. Just like one of the questions that you answered said, it's really kind of, is a big help hearing from people who have gone through this journey and have survived it and are living to tell the story. And I also believe that by God's grace, we also will be survivors already, let's say already, because we are going to come out of it also victorious, just like you guys did. Yes. So talking about this stigma thing, I think this is my short journey so far. I think people believe that cancer is kind of infectious, that when I stay close to them, I will get it. So I better run far away from them. So it's something like that, because I have seen it happening in my own family members who are here. They rather stay from far to talk to you people, not to come closer. So that's what I believe. I believe they think is infectious. Somehow there is something in your home, there is something around you that caused this cancer. And if I keep staying close to you, I as well may get it.
Wow, actually, I read that somewhere. Chidima, thanks for sharing that. In some cultures, yes, there's that thought that it's infectious. Thankfully, in the West, I didn't think it was so prevalent here, but yeah, it's not like COVID. They both start with C, but it's not infectious. And I think the awareness, just talking about it, sharing our stories, even with people that ran away later on, we just tell them, I think it will help the next person that goes through it. Thank you. Anyone else?
By the way, I did get that reaction too. I'm at the grocery store and I'm saying, I'm telling the teller or somebody to assist me because I'm going through cancer treatment. And right away, it's a different reaction altogether. So yes, there's that infectious piece of it. Thanks for sharing.
Okay. Sister Kike.
Thank you all. Thank you all so much. Question. So my worry is, am I doing enough? Am I supporting enough? So in the midst of the craziness of my life, I'm worried. I don't want to be that horrible friend that's expected to be there and is not there enough. So were there people in your life? I know you've talked about the stigma, but were there people that you truly thought were, I think someone mentioned that, people who are supposedly close to you and they moved away? Because that sounds very crazy to me. And then I'm checking myself like, okay, I hope I'm not that person that they are, my friends are feeling like I didn't do enough. What's enough? And how can I know that I'm doing enough?
I can go first and answer that. What is enough, I believe, is how you feel about what you were given. Like at first I was telling Yanka that I'm taking baby steps. Sometimes it's not, and I think this is coming from Mother Teresa and Maya Angelou, who said, bring everybody in from the rainbow. And if, no, I think Maya Angelou said it like this: take everybody that was in your rainbow. And if you can make one person, if you can support one person that's going through their rainbow clouds, then do it. So it's not about doing big things, it's about doing small things. Like you hear from the panel, a simple phone call can do it. For me personally, I didn't want anyone around me, or I tried even not to allow people to come around me who was feeling uncomfortable. I remember when I went bald and my village sister came over and she was admiring me, saying how beautiful I look. When I went out on the street, and it was appearance that sometimes people look at you as a woman, what's your appearance should be. And I get that discriminative effects that coming from people looking at me in a weird way. And I was thinking, no, this shouldn't be, because what if I just go up to this person now and say, why my head is bald is because I'm going through cancer, right? So it's not a whole lot of big things, if I may sum it up. It's just things, and treat yourself gently too, because it's not easy for somebody on the other side. It's not easy, as caregiver will tell you. It's not an easy thing. That's what we're talking about. So I'll just leave it there, and if any other panel member want to.
Thank you. Can I add? Yeah, thank you so much for answering that. That's helpful. I just want to add to it before the next person comes. So what I was thinking about is, how do I support you without treating you like you're dead, or like you're almost dead? So you understand what I'm saying? So if I have the mindset that this person has a month to live, I'm probably going to be in your house every day, right? Because I know, okay, let me be there for you. But how do I treat you with dignity and faith that, hey, we're on this journey together, so I don't need to be extra, suffocate you with care? I don't know if that's a thing.
I
Thank
want
you.
some other survivors to answer that question. We have talked a lot already.
Sure.
Bio, if all of you are here, speak up.
Can I say something?
Yes, go for it, Maureen.
Okay. I would say, just to answer Kike's question, I think it depends on the person involved. So I'll use myself as an example. I didn't really tell a lot of people when I got diagnosed. Maybe I was in denial, maybe I was shocked, I don't know, but I didn't really tell a lot of people. And then when I started telling people, I was very selective about who I was telling. I didn't want anyone who would, bring negative energy. I didn't want anyone who would bring fear. And so I just to select people. And somehow, all the people I told, fine, there was the initial shock. There was, some of them would, just go silent and then maybe start crying. And then I'm like, no, I'm fine, I'm okay. And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I was probably upset with you for not being in touch for, a while. And I'm hearing so there was that. And then after that, they all would try to call me every day, if not every other day. They wanted to know, like, okay, when's your next appointment, or when's your next chemo, when's the next test? And then they'll just check on me. How are you doing today? How are you feeling today? Some of them would ask, do you need anything? Some won't even ask if I needed anything. They would just send stuff over. But I found that what I liked was that they didn't make all their conversation dwell on what I was going through, or what was happening. So yes, they would ask, oh, how are you today? Did you get your test results back? Or have you gone for your appointment? Or how was it? Or how are you feeling? And then we start talking about other things, maybe something happening in the news or something happening in their lives, just gisting, and we're laughing. And so it kind of takes away from what was happening at that time. And then, they'll be like, okay, I can tell you're getting tired. I won't, keep you for too long. I just wanted to check and see how you're doing. So I think I enjoyed that. And also it was good that it was COVID. So I wasn't getting visitors or anything. So it was all over the phone. But I think don't beat yourself up, in overthinking what you could do or how you could be there. I think just be there how you can, however way you can. Whoever it is will be able to tell that this is genuine and this is coming from a place of concern and, whatever. So whatever it is you can do, if it's a regular phone call, if it's, just send something, a care package, just be there. Don't overdo. You don't have to call every single day. You don't have to visit every day or make meals every day, but just the little things here and there. Today, maybe you send a care package, something small. I mean, water bottle, because as a chemo patient, you're dehydrated, or lip balm, or, a blankie for your, when you're doing treatment, or, lotion because, there's dry skin or dry feet or whatever. Once in a while, a meal, pepper soup, say, what do you feel like eating? Or even if you know what they'd like to eat, just send something, if it's a book, or just call and talk about a movie that's trending, just, like you normally would. Whatever you're doing doesn't always have to be about what is happening at that point in time. I find that I still don't like feeling like the victim or feeling that pity. Stay away from people who would, acting all, very sympathetic and like they're pitying me and they're wondering. And I also tended to stay away from people who were even in more denial. And so maybe I say something, like maybe I say, oh, this is what the doctor said, and I'm in treatment, and they're like, God forbid, God forbid is not your portion, but this is happening. I'm in treatment, like what, and so I couldn't even relate with those people. It's not your portion, no, stop confessing negatively or stop. So anyways, I'm just saying, just be there as you normally would. And also understand, when if you call and they can't get to the phone, understand they may be resting, or they may just be tired and not feel like talking. Just, make allowances, and don't feel like if someone didn't tell you they were going through this, it's because they don't consider you a good friend. They probably just didn't want to talk about it with, they just, or it didn't come up in conversation. It's hard enough dealing with that news. It's hard enough telling the next person this is what I'm going through. It's just so many emotions going on. So just be there. Whenever it is you get to know, that's fine. Jump in at that point and be there as a pillar of support. Don't take it personal that you weren't informed from the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Maureen, you spoke for all of us. That was fantastic. That was fantastic. Thank you. Rebecca, I see you lighted up. Did you want to say something?
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for what has been said so far. I think the last speaker really summarized, the question that was asked. I don't know what I can add to that, really. I wanted to say something before, but I don't know what I can add to that, really. It's been summarized completely. Now, we know there are people with negative energy. We know there are people who are deniers, and some people use faith and religion to cover. So somebody who is sick on the bed doesn't care really about who comes and who doesn't come. You only remember people who do not come when you are conscious enough. We all know those moments, those intense, serious moments. It could be after the chemo or when the doctor tells you there is a complication, right? When there are issues that they don't want to use any other term for, they use the word complications. And if you look at most people who have passed away as cancer patients, the doctors will tell you there were complications, and that is it. Now, complications could be an error of the doctors themselves. Complications could be reaction to medication. It could be anything, but there are so many things that are just put under that complication thing. Anyway, let me just say that please do what your conscience feels that you can do. If you show too much emotion, it could be taken to be suspicious on the part of the guy or the person who is sick. Or maybe he's thinking, I'm going to die anyway. If it's not, it's difficult to just find an average other than that, what you think you can do. That's just it. So thank you so much. I do have a question for the panel, and we've talked extensively about stigmatization and how or what we could do to, I don't know whether we can remove it completely, at least to lessen it within the community. What I've heard so much in here is about individual, which is very, very good because the community is made up of individuals. And we've been on this now for, few years. There are organizations around that have been around fighting cancer for decades. We still have this issue of people suspecting or feeling that the guy who was diagnosed with cancer is not going to last. Meanwhile, if you look back into the date that you are diagnosed, Look at the thoughts that were going through your minds. Between that day, that particular date and today, how many people have passed away that you know of? Not of cancer at all. That has nothing at all to do with cancer. People that you think obviously are going to die before they even think of feeling sick, and they've gone. So what I'm saying in essence is the fact that we have cancer does not mean we are going to die before the next person beside us. It doesn't at all. Thousands and thousands died because of COVID. We are still here. It's not because we are better or we know something, no. I kept on telling my wife and anybody who cares to listen that if you have been spared for this long, I think you have a purpose to fulfill. Whether you find that purpose or not, it's up to you. But I think you find there is a purpose for you to fulfill. I know somebody talked about second life. Yes. That's how I felt, and that's how I still feel. You are spared of those terrible sicknesses and complications. Some of us died more than 2 times when we were going during the peak of our ordeals, and we are still here. So my question is, how do we, knowing that stigmatization is not only limited to this community to this African community alone. If you look at this group today, how many men are here? Does it mean men do not have cancer? In our community today, are we saying there are no men with cancer? We have people here this evening who would rather want their spouses to go to meetings like this, and they stay at home. So it's part of the culture, part of our culture, where we come from. So what else do we need to do to break this, this almost impossible, whatever it is that have been preventing the community to wake up? You think that, well, we're now in this environment and we should change. Most of us still believe as if we're in our villages. Most of us still believe as if we are where we grow up, where we educate and all the rest. The fact that we are here doesn't even seem to have educated any one of us much. So what do we have to do more to get the society to come up, warm up to cancer? First off, that cancer is not contagious. Secondly, that the fact that I have cancer doesn't mean I'm going to die tomorrow. The same way, nobody can tell who's next to die among us. So there are so many factors we can lay down that cancer does not necessarily lead to death. And we do know that there are factual steps that we can follow to prevent untimely death as a result of cancer. If we talk about it, if we do not shy away from letting those who are supposed to know, if we do not hide away from taking medications. And I heard in here again that somebody said in here that some people will not want to take medication. Some people will say because they said chemo kills people, so they are not going to take the medication. And we're in Canada, right? You would think nobody would think that way. So what else do we have to do? These are to the panels and to anybody who cares to let's discuss that. What can we do to sensitize our community more, to bring people just out of their, wherever they were, the cocoon that they put themselves in before they come to this environment? Thank you.
That's a good question.
Sharon, do you mind? Can we leave it to the floor? I'm thinking.
Yeah, I would like to speak.
Oh, sorry, said the panel, so.
Yeah, I would like to speak, if that's okay. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Oladele. You took the words right out of my mouth. That was the question I was going to ask. That when we talk about stigmatization, we need to look at this, our community at large, and not just this group. So, and what came to my mind when you were talking was, you know how in the Bible, Jesus said, go and make disciples, compared to where we have in the church and we're inviting people into the church, So I think in a way, thinking about it like an evangelism, each one of us going out there to, within our own spheres of influence, being advocates, letting people be aware of what cancer is, that it's no longer, oh, because you have it in your family or not. Because a lot of people are not even aware that it can just happen. A lot of people don't know. That's why they don't want to listen, right? So I think one way to do that is maybe coming up with a strategy in which individually, how do we influence, our own sphere? How can we who have been through it and have some knowledge about it, how can we be a light where we are? And light would always shine forth. The more we do that, the more of our community members would, get to know about it. And another thing too is, I know that a lot of us Africans are very religious people, and a lot of us go to church. That's where we are. So let's go into the churches. Let us, and it's kind of counterintuitive, but it's in the churches that we have the problem, because it's in the churches that we hear it's not my portion. They don't want to listen. They don't want to come near you, because come near me, then maybe I'll get it by osmosis, or maybe as you talk about it, I'll just magically get it. But I think education in the church is very important. It's something we must do. Even if we say we want to start from there, let us, we who have pastor friends, find a way to have education sessions in the church. Let our Christian brothers and sisters who have never had it or had any experience with it begin to know that this thing can happen to anybody. The statistics are out there. I said it to myself. I was telling my husband the other day, where, I think about 2 years before I got diagnosed, I was on my way to work. I was driving to work, and on the radio, there came up a commercial that said, it wasn't 1 in 8 women are going to be diagnosed with breast cancer. And I said, it's not my portion. I said it. I said it. And my mom passed away from breast cancer. I said it. To tell you how deeply ingrained religion is in us. We put religion as, on our foreheads, thinking that when you say it will go away. No, it doesn't go away. And that's where we need to get our Christian brothers, our religious brothers and sisters, first and foremost. It doesn't go away by confession. It doesn't. We need to let them know that. So I think we need to come up with some kind of program where we're getting into those churches and letting people know, one, this thing can happen to anybody, whether or not you have a family history. Two, if it does happen, you cannot control it, because our lives are in God's hands. God allows things. We wouldn't say he brings it, but he allows it to happen. Because if we are sheltered under the shadow of his wings, then if such evil comes to us, then he has allowed it to happen. So, there must be a reason why he has allowed it. So now we want them to know, first and foremost, it can happen to anybody. Then secondly, if it does happen, there's a community of people. Many of them have gone through it before. Many are survivors. In fact, many of us are survivors. And so you can get support from this community. I think that way the word gets spread around, and then, over time, people get to know that, okay, there's a community of Africans who are surviving cancer. And I think that enough, would help people come out, to say, okay, even if it's not them, maybe a relative or whatever, you know, oh, there's this community and blah, blah, blah. But I think we need to go out. We need to, you know, yes, we're doing a great job by having this community and inviting people for our programs, but we need to think about programs that are sending us out into the community to get into the faces of people, so that whether they want to hear or not, I mean, they can decide to take it or not, but finding a way to let them know the facts. You know, this is not this is not wishful thinking. This is not, oh, I magically wave it away and it goes away. No, it's not going to happen that way, you know. And so I think those are the two key points that I want to raise. And I think when people see more of us survivors, I mean, look at everyone on this. I mean, I was looking at everybody. Everybody's looking good. You're all looking so well. Come on. I mean, you're looking so good. I'm like, it's not written on anybody's face. In fact, you look much better than some people who have not had cancer before. Yes, but that's the truth. And when people see us and they see, oh my God, like, because when people think of cancer, they think of a bald-headed human being that has eyes sunken into the socket and looking like you're gaunt and your throat is about to fall off. That's the image they have. So we need to let them know that, hey, these are survivors. These are survivors. And I think when people are able to see the picture, somebody mentioned, you know, having a billboard or something, you know, with advertisements to show the African, you know, putting ourselves out there. When they say, oh, this is a 5-year cancer survivor, this is a 10-year cancer survivor, African, Nigerian survivor, African, Ghanaian, Caribbean, whatever, and they're looking this good, can't be so bad after all. You know, it begins to change the narrative. It begins to change the narrative, because most people have one narrative of what cancer is. Gaunt looking, like a skeleton, and you're about to die. That's all they think of. We need to change that. See beautiful faces, like all these people, like really? It changes. Pictures tell a lot of words. So I think those are some of the things we can do, but I think we should really think of programs to take us to first of all, educate us as individuals. Okay, all of those who have survived, how do we, within our own sphere, you know, influence those around us, our friends, our families? And then what kind of programs can we have in our churches so that we are getting the messages out there? Yeah, so those are 2 things I would say.
Thank you very much. You deserve a round of applause, and you're getting. I see you want to speak. Maybe we just take that. I know Sister Kike's hand was up. You can be short and sweet. Then we'll give it over to Sharon for our call to action.
Where is Kike Shugan?
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ifeku. In fact, you said what I was going to say, but in February, a lady passed. I don't know if you guys heard. From her diagnosis till when she passed was like 2 or 3 weeks. But she didn't even know she was sick. Why am I saying this? We've been trying to get into churches. Kika is coming back. We've been trying to get into churches, and the pastor, he didn't even know she was going to pass that week. He came to my shop. He bought 2 of her books. He said, oh, I'm going to take your books to the hospital to give to the husband, to the family. I think he bought it on Tuesday and she passed on Thursday. A week after the funeral, he called, said, oh, my sister, please, when can we talk about this thing? Right. So we'll be talking with having a schedule with the women section, women department or women ministry to talk about cancer. That is 1. 2, we got an invite from one of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. I think the day Sheon had her birthday. So we actually went to a church. It was on a Saturday. That was Chidima also was there. The church was packed. We thank God, because we realized that, thank God for COVID, we are going out now. We are bringing education and awareness to churches. And I think we have 2 other churches that have spoken to us. So where I'm going is, we are all Christians. In fact, we have gone as far as Edmonton. right? That was before COVID, but now we are getting back. So we are Christians, or it doesn't matter your religion. We've been to the Muslim community too, just to bring education and awareness. Maybe we can come to your church and all of us have to do it together. We have to strategize. What are we going to do? I like what you ladies did today, and we are going to strategize, see how we can bring the words to churches. And 99% of people on here are survivors. And that is one of the reasons why these people, where we are, this country or this North America, they celebrate survivors. I was shocked when I saw it. I'm like, in our community, in our culture, it is when people have passed, that's when they do celebration of life. Right? They celebrate, and I was reading, they do so many things just to celebrate. They say from the diagnosis, once you have started your chemo, you have survived. And they do the celebration. And that is why on June 25th, let us just, I know it's the first time, we'll have up and down, like it will not be perfect, but we'll try our best. Let people see that, yes, there are people in our community, right, that are survivors, that have gone through this journey. I know one of my aunties, Auntie Yinka, it's over 10 years, right? And we thank God for that. There are many people like that who have gone through the journey and have survived. So if you are here, you know anyone that should be invited or should be honored that have gone through the journey, let us know. We'll put our website and email address in the chat. Just reach out to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're running out of time. We really want to wrap up at 6. I know, Sister, you had your hand up, you're back, but we just have 5 minutes to do 2 things. And Sharon, with that, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay. Call to action in a form of a poem. Cancer, we won, be one. Cancer friends, families, and survivors, we are strong and heal better together. Together we can heal and prosper. No one of us should be fighting alone. In love and with treatment, we thrive and we flourish. We deserve respect and life living with dignity. We deserve kindness and care. We deserve understanding and empathy. We deserve our families, friends, and our communities and our elected government members to be there for us and with us. Being human is enough. We are enough. Cancer, we won, be one. Thank you.
Nice one.
So much. Thank you so much. When Sharon said this, I said, you gotta read it. You gotta say, you gotta read it, and it's so touching. That's our heart there for us. So Edna, you are going to wrap it up. Go for it, please.
Together with Pele and Sharon, we really appreciate all of you that took time out to come out to join us in this discussion that is so troubling within our community and beyond. We want to give a special thanks to the Oladile Foundation for giving us this footstone to stand on, to be able to speak out and reach out. So at this point, I would like to invite anyone that will give us a closing prayer and wish that we will continue to speak out, and then we'll continue to come together to see how we can together fight this stigmatization that is going on within the community. Anyone to give us a closing prayer? Led by the Spirit.
Sorry, if you allow me just one more statement before the prayer. My apology for saying this. I think one of the last speakers said that we I think if ECHO actually call us to action, that and everybody seems to agree, I want to ask that, thank goodness we belong to different denominations. I don't think there are 4 or 5 people here who go to the same, specific church. Where am I going is that if we truly agree with what has been said in here tonight, can we ask you to talk to the leaders of your church, the pastors or the referents or the fathers or whoever they might be, just in line of what we talked about, that is it okay for us to come, to just have 15 minutes to talk with the congregation? Every church has one gathering or one event or the other. If not for the whole, it could just be to talk to the women or to talk to the men or to talk to this group or to that group. From there, we can graduate into actually talking to the whole church. I just want to, ask us to try that, right, with our individual churches and pass the information down uh, to the organizing committee here, and we will know exactly how to follow that one up. That's just what I want to say before the prayer. My apologies. So please, ma'am. If nobody else, I actually it's okay. Can I call on Auntie Kika to pray for us to close?
Okay, you just read in my mind.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I normally pray short. It's going to be even shorter because I am supposed to be actually at work at 6 o'clock and I just logged on. So forgive me for it being the shortest prayer you've ever heard. Heavenly Father, we thank you. You're such a good God. And you're good all the time. In the good times, in the bad times, you are there always. In the valley, in the hills. You know us inside out and you care so much. Thank you. And thank you for this privilege that we have to share. We are light to the world. And even through conversations, we are going to change the world. So we pray, oh God, that we will spread that love. And everything we've shared today will bring it into practice. And people will understand that you are God no matter what. Cancer or no cancer, you are still God and you remain God and you remain faithful. So we thank you. As your children are going through the treatment, they will do well. They will come out stronger. And whatever you need them to experience during that time, you will let them experience it. Thank you, Father Lord. In the name of Jesus, we have prayed.
Amen.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate all of you. To my sisters Edna and Sharon, wonderful working with you. Ladele Foundation, the Ladele's, thanks for the opportunity. And to everyone, have a great rest of the Sunday. And until the next time we come together again. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye.